I thought getting a private tutor would fix my terrible calculus grades. Instead, it fixed something way more complicated. My gaydar. Hi, I'm Maya Chin, 19, college sophomore, and I just realized I've been staring at my tutor's hands for 20 minutes instead of learning derivatives. Her name is Jordan Mills, 24, recent math grad, and she explains equations like they're poetry. Which should not be attractive, but here we are. When my parents hired her, they said she comes highly recommended. What they didn't mention was that she'd show up looking like she walked out of a dark academia Pinterest board. Glasses, rolled up sleeves, that focused expression when she's solving problems. My brain? Completely useless. Our first session was fine. Professional. I actually learned something. But by session 3, I started noticing things. Like how she bites her lip when she's concentrating. Or how she leans close when checking my work and I can smell her coffee and vanilla perfume. And yeah, I stopped paying attention to calculus entirely. The worst part was that she was actually a really good tutor. Patient, encouraging, had this way of breaking down complex problems into simple steps. She'd draw little diagrams, use real-world examples, and actually made me feel like I could understand this stuff. But all I could think about was how her voice got softer when she was explaining something difficult, like she was letting me in on a secret. My roommate, Bex, noticed immediately. She walked into our dorm during my breakdown and said, "You're not stressed about math. You're stressed about your hot tutor." I threw a pillow at her. She wasn't wrong. The problem was, Jordan was completely professional. Polite, patient, encouraging. Meanwhile, I could barely string together a sentence without blushing. I'd find myself looking forward to Tuesday and Thursday evenings all week. I'd plan my outfits, which was ridiculous because it's not like she cared what I wore. I'd make sure my room was clean, have snacks ready, basically turn into a completely different person. Bex would watch me stress clean before sessions and just shake her head laughing. Things got worse when she started staying later, helping me beyond our scheduled time. We'd finish the calculus work, but then we'd just keep talking. About books, music, her college experience. She told me about her master's thesis on applied mathematics. I told her about my journalism major and how I was only taking calculus because it was required. And I started wondering, is she just being nice? Or is there something here? Because sometimes, I'd catch her looking at me in this way that made my stomach flip. But then she'd go right back to being professional tutor Jordan and I'd convince myself I was imagining everything. One evening, she mentioned her ex-girlfriend casually while talking about a math conference. She said something like, "My ex used to complain that I talked about eigenvalues too much at dinner parties." And I just sat there, frozen, trying to process. My brain short-circuited. Wait. She's gay? This changed everything and also made everything 10 times more terrifying. Because now instead of a hopeless crush on my straight tutor, I had a maybe possibly hopeful crush on my very gay tutor. Who was still my tutor. And 5 years older. And probably thought of me as just a struggling calc student who occasionally said something mildly interesting. Perfect. I started practicing what I'd say to her. In the shower, walking to class, lying in bed at night. Just casual things like, "Hey Jordan, I think you're amazing and also I can't focus on integrals because your voice makes my brain stop working." You know, normal stuff. I'd rehearse different versions, trying to find one that didn't sound completely unhinged. Bex said I was being ridiculous. Just tell her, she'd say while eating my chips. Easy for her to say. She didn't have to look into those warm brown eyes and risk ruining the one thing making calculus bearable. Plus, what if I was wrong? What if she was just being friendly and I was reading into everything like a disaster lesbian? The signs felt real though. Like how she'd started texting me outside of session times. Just little things. A meme about calculus. A song recommendation. Once, she sent me a photo of a cat she saw that reminded her of a joke I'd made. That meant something, right? Or was I just desperately hopeful? I started noticing more things too. How her smile was different when it was genuine versus polite. How she'd fidget with her pen when she was thinking. The way she'd push her glasses up when she was focused. I had it so bad. My other friends started complaining that I only talked about Jordan. Even my lab partner in biology said, "So when are you going to do something about your tutor crush?" Was I that obvious? Apparently yes. Everyone could see it except possibly Jordan herself. Or maybe she could see it and was just being professional. That thought terrified me even more. But then came the incident. The one that still makes me want to sink into the floor. It was a Thursday evening. Jordan had texted saying she'd be 15 minutes late, something about traffic. Perfect, I thought. Time to practice my confession speech one more time. Because I'd decided, after weeks of agonizing, that I was going to tell her. That very night. After our session. I had a whole plan. So there I was, pacing my dorm room, talking to myself like a total weirdo. Jordan, I really like you. No, too simple. Jordan, these tutoring sessions are the highlight of my week. Too desperate. Jordan, I think you're attractive and smart and funny. Too awkward. I kept starting over, trying to find the right words. Bex had gone to her girlfriend's place for the night, so I had the room to myself. Which meant I could practice out loud without judgment. Or so I thought. I was really getting into it, gesturing and everything, like I was rehearsing for a play. I settled on something in between and started rehearsing out loud, putting real emotion into it. Jordan, I know this is probably inappropriate, but I can't stop thinking about you. You make calculus almost enjoyable, which is basically a miracle. And I just needed you to know that. I paused dramatically, then added, because you're incredible and funny and gorgeous and I'm completely gone for you. I even did this little hand gesture, which in hindsight was mortifying. Then I heard it. A knock. Followed immediately by my door opening because I'd left it unlocked for her like I always did. And there was Jordan, standing in my doorway, grocery bag in one hand, expression completely frozen. She'd heard everything. Every single word. Every dramatic pause. Probably even the hand gesture. The silence stretched like taffy. My face went from warm to burning to probably actually on fire. I wanted to crawl under my bed and live there forever. Maybe transfer schools. Maybe transfer planets. Maybe invent time travel just to go back 5 minutes and lock the stupid door. Jordan just stood there, eyes wide behind her glasses, lips slightly parted. The grocery bag was hanging limply from her hand. I could see my favorite chips peeking out the top. She'd brought me snacks again. Which somehow made this worse. Then she carefully closed the door behind her and said quietly, "Maya." That was the longest 3 seconds of my life. I couldn't tell if she was about to let me down gently or call my parents or quit on the spot. My mind was racing through every possible terrible outcome. I was already composing the text to Bex. Emergency. Dying. Please plan funeral. Make it gay-themed. Instead, she set down the grocery bag on my desk, which I now noticed had not just chips but also those chocolate-covered pretzels I'd mentioned liking once, weeks ago. She'd remembered. And she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "How long?" My brain tried rebooting. How long what? I managed to croak out. My mouth felt like sandpaper. "How long have you felt this way?" she clarified, and her voice was softer than I'd ever heard it. There was something in her expression I couldn't read. Not anger. Not pity. Something else entirely. I couldn't lie anymore. What was the point? She'd literally heard my dramatic confession rehearsal. Since week 3, I admitted, my voice shaking. Maybe week 2. Possibly the first session when you explained limits using that coffee shop metaphor. I don't know. You walked in and I just thought, oh no, this is going to be a problem. She laughed. Actually laughed. And it wasn't mocking or uncomfortable. It was almost relieved, like she'd been holding her breath and finally let it out. She ran a hand through her dark hair, messing it up in a way that was unfairly attractive. Maya, she said, walking closer, and my heart was trying to break out of my ribcage. Do you know how hard it's been trying to stay professional? I looked up at her, completely confused. My brain was still stuck on the fact that she was laughing and not running away. What? She sat on the edge of my desk, right next to the snack bag, and I realized how close she was now. Close enough that I could see the flecks of gold in her brown eyes. I noticed in week 2, she said, fiddling with her bracelet. The way you'd lose focus when I got close. How you'd blush when our hands touched passing papers. That time you dropped your pencil 3 times in one session because you were nervous. And I told myself I was imagining it because you're my student and that would be completely inappropriate. I tried to keep things professional. Tried to maintain boundaries. But then you started asking about my life. Actually listening when I talked about my research. Making me laugh with your terrible math puns. And I realized I was showing up early and staying late not because you needed extra help, but because I wanted to be here. With you. I'd find excuses to extend our sessions. Oh, let's do one more practice problem. Oh, let me explain this concept another way. When really, I just didn't want to leave. My heart was doing gymnastics. Entire Olympic routines. A perfect 10 on the uneven bars of emotional chaos. So what does this mean? I asked, barely breathing. The air in my small dorm room felt electric, charged with possibility and terror in equal measure. She smiled, that real smile I'd only seen a few times before, the one that crinkled the corners of her eyes. It means we should probably talk about this. Like adults. She stood up and held out her hand. Want to take a walk? I nodded, not trusting my voice, and took her hand. Her fingers were warm and sure, and I was definitely going to combust. We ended up at the campus coffee shop, the one that's open late for stressed students and insomniacs. It was Thursday night, so it was pretty empty, just a few people with laptops and headphones scattered around. We found a quiet corner booth, the kind with the worn vinyl seats and the table that wobbled slightly. And for the first time since this whole tutoring thing started, we just talked. Honestly. No pretense of calculus homework between us. Just 2 people figuring out what this thing was. She ordered a black coffee. I got hot chocolate because I'm predictable. And we talked. She told me she'd been fighting her feelings because of the age gap and the tutor-student dynamic. That she'd almost quit twice because it felt complicated and potentially messy. The first time was after week 4, when I'd made her laugh so hard at one of my terrible jokes that she'd snorted. She said she'd gone home that night and seriously considered referring me to a different tutor. The second time was more recent. Last week, actually. When I'd texted her a song I thought she'd like and she realized she'd listened to it 5 times in a row just because I'd recommended it. That's when she knew she was in too deep. But she also admitted that our sessions had become the best part of her week too. She'd rearrange her schedule to make sure she never had to cancel. She'd find herself thinking about what I'd said days later. She'd saved some of my texts even though they were just about homework. I told her about my terrible confession rehearsals, all of them, not just the one she'd witnessed. The shower speeches. The 2 a.m. scripts I'd typed into my notes app. The time I'd practiced in front of Bex who'd rated each attempt like a talent show judge. This made Jordan laugh so hard she nearly spilled her latte all over the table. We talked about boundaries, about being careful, about what this could actually be. She was adamant that we handle this the right way. No more tutoring sessions, at least not with her. She'd help me find someone else, someone who wouldn't make my brain malfunction during derivatives. We'd keep things separate, clean. And somewhere between her third coffee and my second hot chocolate, after we'd been talking for almost 2 hours, she reached across the table and took my hand again. "Is this okay?" she asked, her thumb brushing across my knuckles. "More than okay," I managed to say without completely losing it. We decided to pause the tutoring sessions immediately. She'd help me find someone else by next week. And then, maybe, we could see where this goes. Take it slow. Actually date like normal people instead of whatever complicated thing we'd been doing. As we walked back to campus, the night air cool against my still flushed cheeks, she stopped under a streetlight. The orange glow made her look almost ethereal. "Maya," she said, turning to face me. "Yeah?" My voice came out breathy. "I really want to kiss you right now. But only if you want that too." I nodded because words had completely abandoned me. All those practiced speeches, all that rehearsing, and now I couldn't form a single coherent sentence. But apparently nodding was enough. She leaned in slowly, giving me every chance to change my mind. But I didn't want to. Her lips were soft, tasting like coffee and possibility and something sweet. It wasn't like the movies, all dramatic and perfect with fireworks. It was better. Real. Gentle and careful and warm. Her hand came up to cup my cheek and I thought my knees might actually give out. When we pulled apart, she was smiling, really smiling. "Worth the wait," she whispered. We walked back to my dorm building, hand in hand, not talking much but not needing to. The silence was comfortable, full of promise. Before she left, standing in the hallway outside my door, she said, "For the record, you're terrible at confessing. But I'm glad you practiced." I laughed, still feeling like I was floating somewhere above my body. "So what now?" "Now," she said, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear, "we take it slow. Figure this out together. And maybe I teach you calculus without wanting to hold your hand the entire time." Actually, she amended with a grin, "Maybe someone else teaches you calculus and I just get to hold your hand." The next few weeks were strange and wonderful in equal measure. Jordan found me a new tutor, a very nice graduate student named Marcus who was incredibly boring, which actually helped my grades. And we started dating. Actually dating. Not tutoring with complicated feelings, but real proper dates. Coffee shops where we'd talk for hours. Movie nights where she'd explain the math in sci-fi films and I'd tell her to stop being a nerd. Long walks around campus talking about everything and nothing. She introduced me to her favorite used bookstore. Made me playlists that were somehow both nerdy and romantic. Brought me soup when I was sick with a cold. My parents were confused when I told them I'd switched tutors. But Jordan and I agreed we'd tell them eventually, when things felt more solid. When we were sure this was going somewhere. For now, it was just ours. Bex, of course, was insufferable about the whole thing. Called it from day one, she said smugly every chance she got. I told her to shut up but she wasn't wrong. Jordan took me to meet her friends after about a month. A group of fellow math nerds who immediately tried to quiz me on calculus, which Jordan shut down immediately. "She's off duty from math," she'd said, wrapping an arm around my shoulders. They'd all exchanged knowing looks and smiled. One night, about 2 months in, we were at her apartment studying. Well, I was studying for biology. She was grading papers for the students she actually tutored. Her place was small but cozy, full of books and plants and string lights that made everything feel warm. She looked up from her laptop and said, "You know what's funny?" "What?" I asked, not looking up from my notes about cellular respiration. "I thought tutoring you would be temporary. Just a job to help with grad school expenses. But you ended up teaching me something way more important." I closed my textbook and turned to face her. "What's that?" "That sometimes the best things happen when you stop trying to keep everything perfectly professional and just let yourself feel. That taking risks can be worth it. That love doesn't always follow the plan you have in your head. I got up from the floor where I'd been sprawling with my books and sat next to her on the couch. She closed her laptop and wrapped an arm around me. I leaned into her warmth, feeling completely content. "You're getting really good at romantic speeches," I teased. She kissed the top of my head. "Learned from the best." "Your practicing paid off apparently." "Oh, shut up," I laughed, elbowing her gently. She caught my hand and laced our fingers together. We sat there in comfortable silence, her hand playing with my hair, me feeling more content than I'd ever been. And I realized this whole messy, awkward, embarrassing situation had led to something I never expected. Something real and good and mine. My roommate later said our story sounded like a fanfiction. The struggling student and the patient tutor who fall for each other. Maybe it did. But it was ours, messy confession and all. So yeah, I hired a tutor to fix my calculus grades and ended up fixing my whole heart instead. Turns out the best lessons aren't always about math. Sometimes they're about taking chances and being brave enough to say what you feel, even if you accidentally say it to an empty room and get caught. And if you've ever completely embarrassed yourself in front of your crush and somehow it worked out anyway, hit that like and subscribe button because sometimes the universe rewards our disasters with something beautiful. Who knew practicing confessions could actually lead to the real thing? Spoiler alert, it absolutely can. If this story made your heart race, go ahead and like, subscribe and share.